The thing that a lot of people lean on here, Sal, well, I don't know if it's smart for Rodgers to push this and accelerate the rehab. What if he gets hurt again? That's never been a real issue for me, though I acknowledge he obviously can get hurt again. But if he were to go down, you've got the entire offseason to get ready for week one. I just want to see Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I want to see Aaron Rodgers, too. I think it would be exciting to see him back. And it's crazy that the return date is targeted now to what you said weeks ago about that Christmas Eve against the Washington football team. Here's the issue that I have with it.
We wish you a Merry Rodgers. Merry Rodgers.
Like, what are we doing here?
We're watching Rodgers play football.
What is happening? The guy had a season-ending injury, and now we're supposed to believe he's going to come back and be at practice this week or next week, and then be here and play in the game against the Commanders on the 24th. First of all, I don't even believe it. Second of all, do we understand that Aaron Rodgers is ruining the New York Jets? Now, I want to see it, too, for entertainment purposes.
Okay.
I'm with you, and I do love Aaron Rodgers. Unfortunately, this whole thing was built around Aaron Rodgers. Unfortunately, it fell apart 4 plays in. Now, Rodgers was supposed to expect he's going to come back and then be the savior again next year. All the people that are brought in are here because of Aaron Rodgers. The Jets can't make significant changes with the coaching staff because of Aaron Rodgers. Their franchise, BT, the way that it played out is worse off because of Aaron Rodgers, who somehow is miraculously going to be the only human being ever to come back from a torn Achilles in, 8 weeks? I mean, 3 months? I mean, what are we talking about here? What is going on?
Well, I understand, I do, when people say that he's kind of ruined is strong, but certainly put the Jets in a rough spot, okay? All the pieces and all the tentacles that extend from Rodgers' arrival, and we know all the names, it complicates their future. I understand that. Most notably, the coach, Hackett. Less about Saleh, but certainly about Nathaniel Hackett, as you'll see. I look at it this way. When Rodgers comes back, don't you think we'll get a clear indication if Lazard is truly shot? If, Cobb can play at all? If Dalvin Cook could do anything?
Why are these guys all here?
Well, they're here because of Rodgers.
Okay,
I
fail.
understand. I understand that. Well, a fail. Well, everybody's been a fail. Even Garrett Wilson's taken a step back this year without ever, with the quarterback play. Nobody has looked good. So I think at least, aside from, again, selfishly being entertained and needing something to connect the dots for this season of complete misery and emptiness for me and other Jet fans, I want to see what the offense looks like with Rodgers, because I got news for you. I don't think a lot of people will agree with this, but I believe, that Rodgers is much more beholden to his legacy than he is Nathaniel Hackett, who I know he loves, right? Mm-hmm. So Rodgers comes back. The Jets' offense looks like ass. If it does, I believe that he'll be more, I can't believe I'm using this word, amenable to allowing the Jets to do things that maybe some people don't think that he will allow them to do.
No way.
Why not?
And by the way, I'm going to take it a step further here. Rodgers ruining the season. Now, he can't help getting hurt. That's obviously a part of it. But all the other moves that you talk about. But how about the idea that the Jets must have known, because if you knew several weeks ago that he was targeting a December 24th return, that means the Jets certainly knew that he was targeting that return, which also means it makes me think that the Jets did less with the idea that we know he's going to be back. We'll be able to stay afloat with our defense. We'll trust Zach for a little bit, try to make him not, lose games here. It's not going to spiral out of control. We have a softer schedule, whether it's the Chargers, the Raiders, the Giants, whatever it may be.
Falcons coming up.
And we'll stay afloat until he comes back on that date.
Yeah.
But that's the wrong move, because you can't rely on Rodgers at his age to come back from that injury, whether he's lying about it or not, or the severity of it. Like, something is off here, okay? And if the Jets, I'm just going based off of their moves. Every move that they have made this offseason was to placate Aaron Rodgers, and they've all been the wrong ones. And then in season, to potentially placate Aaron Rodgers yet again by not going and getting a real backup quarterback immediately, that again hurt them in season and hurt their chances. We're talking about a difference of 2-3 games here where the Jets would be in a great position to be in the postseason, especially with Rodgers returning, if that is going to be the case. And they didn't do anything about it, probably because they were like, you know what, he's coming back and we'll be fine. Aaron Rodgers, single-handedly, not on purpose, but single-handedly has torpedoed the Jets season this year and is going to prevent them from making the necessary changes to have sustained success following this season.
See, I don't see either one of those situations, because the injury It's just unfair. All right. Maybe you could say from a Jets perspective, somewhat predictable, but, the guy goes down. All right, so the best laid plans, boom, in the incinerator. Next season, do you think, now he's watched, and he is perceptive, all right? Borderline brilliant with football. You think he wants to roll out there with a C-minus offense? And maybe...
Well, he wants to go out there this year when he's hurt. With a torn Achilles behind this crappy offensive line with a horrible... What's he doing?
Well, but that's different from what I'm asking. What I'm saying is, if he comes back and Lazard really can't get separation and all these other guys that he absolutely brought here is no doubt, I don't think that he's going to be so inflexible to keep them here or demand that the Jets keep them because Rodgers came here to win. He could have played anywhere. He could have stayed in Green Bay. He could have gone to the Patriots. He could have gone to the Raiders. He had other suitors. He came here because he wants to win. And from moment one, it was about the Dusty Lombardi Trophy, Namath's number. It was about, going to elevate this moribund, pathetic doormat of a franchise, which in many ways would elevate his overall perception more than... think about this. If Rodgers wins a second Super Bowl, I know it sounds ludicrous now, but if he won a second Super Bowl here with the Jets, what's more impressive in the annals of, or what would be more impressive, remembered, more?
Well, that, no question about it, that he won the Jets a Super Bowl.
I could make the case that Rodgers winning with the Jets would I'm not saying that it should, but on some perceptual level would usurp what Montana did with the 49ers, winning 4 of them. You win a Super Bowl here, you shoot past 5 or 6 names on the all-time list immediately.
Correct.
Immediately.
It's like LeBron winning in Cleveland meant more than any other championship that he had. I understand. KD, he could win as many as he wants with the Warriors or whatever super team. Had he stayed in Oklahoma City and won one, it would have meant more. So, yes, I understand that, but it's not going to happen. It's not happening.
Oh, it's not going to happen this year. I'm going to give you that.
Well, you
I
think?
don't know what's going to happen next year.
That? It's not going to happen this year? Well, finally.
Well, they're not eliminated yet.
I mean, but BT, think about what we're talking about
here. I understand what you're saying.
The guy's
I just
40
see it differently.
years old.
Yeah.
I mean, did he have an Achilles injury or not?
How you know where I sit on this. I never thought it was fully ruptured. I said that from minute one. I can't prove that. I don't have the imaging.
Well,
I haven't talked to Rodgers.
It can't be. He's going to come back to practice potentially this week.
It could be because, number one, the human body evolves, and number two, medicine evolves. Think about this. There was a point where nobody thought it was humanly possible to eclipse a 4-minute mile. The human body changes and medicine changes. Now, that procedure... I'm almost tired of talking about it, but it matters. It's a different procedure than Vinny Testaverde, from Trent Dilfer, from me, every other blown-out Achilles. It's different.
How about the endless others who blew out their Achilles this year? Why aren't they coming back December 24th?
Well, because Kirk Cousins went down 3 weeks ago, and there's just not enough time. I mean, who else? J.K. Dobbins. Surprised he didn't make it back.
Guys went down in the preseason. They're not coming back.
Maybe they don't have the they don't have the want. That Rodgers has, which is part of the reason why I want to see him play. I almost feel, listen.
You realize this guy, and it's not, again, I love Aaron Rodgers. This was the greatest move that the Jets could have made. I loved it coming in. But the way that it broke, he has ruined the Jets. Aaron Rodgers has ruined their chances this year and potentially next year because they are going to double down next year, really because they have no choice. Because they went all in. And now they're going to risk next year, and Rodgers is going to risk his own career by coming back from this thing way early. I mean, I just for what? The season's over. There are many layers to this whole thing.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Number one, I don't believe he's coming back. Until I see it, I just don't believe it.
He's coming back. You got to stop with that. You know he's coming back.
No, I don't know that.
He's coming back.
Well,
he's playing.
Then he was lying about what the injury was. So either he was lying about it or he's not coming back.
But Sal, let me ask you a question. Time out for 20 seconds. So Cam Akers came back. Now he got hurt again. Yeah. Okay, whatever.
5 months.
I got you. A running back who's got to come back and run about a 4.40. All right, different cuts, different bursts, different physical responsibility. You and others are I know it's almost implausible and very unlikely, but you're ruling out the little teeny weeny tiny chance that Aaron Rodgers is capable of doing something that nobody else has done.
Well, why not? Superman? Does he get superpowers?
No, but he
went down in that dark cave and came out with some superpowers that we don't know about?
There's always somebody who pushes things to a level that seem just utterly impossible. There's the 4-minute mile, a certain bench press, a certain squat, hitting a baseball a certain distance. There's throwing a baseball 106 miles an hour. Like, there's always somebody.
And I'm supposed to believe that at 40 years of age, that somebody is Aaron Rodgers?
I believe it is, because I believe he's playing. And I've always thought that he's coming back. And I said December 24th.
Yeah, okay, great. And then what? Yeah,
well, we'll see. I don't know.
The other thing was that, the Jets are going to be in it. They have to be in it for Rodgers. Well, they're not. They're out. Because they stink.
That's why I respect it more.
Because they have the worst quarterbacks known to man in their organization, maybe outside of New England, that they found to replace Aaron Rodgers. Oh, here you go, Zach, even though we know you're not ready. That's why we brought in Rodgers in the first place. And now Timmy Boyle. Like, if they had some semblance of an offense, they wouldn't be in this spot. And then we could be excited about Rodgers coming back. Right now, it does nothing other than individually for Rodgers and put on a show for us, for a team that otherwise has become irrelevant.
877-337-6666. BT and Sal of the Fan here inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Friends of Town Fair, remind you that you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Listen, one thing Sal's always been clear on, he's a Rodgers guy. He's a Rodgers fan, and I get that. So I don't want to, waste time on that. It's clear. You like him. I know you do.
I do love Aaron Rodgers.
I love him. I love what he's trying to do. I respect what he's trying to do or what he's about to do. Where you and I truly differ is the value of his return to the field this year. I think there's value for Garrett Wilson. I think there's value in getting definitive answers on the other guys, and I'm not sure I don't know if they could play anymore. But I know that if Rodgers is here, the way he masters the offense and all the other things, the mind, the accuracy, the anticipation, at least I will collect selfishly as a Jets fan, will collect some intel this offseason, which I believe will allow the Jets to make better decisions going into next year rather than guessing as to whether or not if Rodgers can still play. Charlie's in Bethpage. Charlie, first up, BT and Sal. What's happening, buddy?
BT and Sal, how we doing?
Hey,
Charlie.
I can't believe we're even talking about Rodgers coming back. Why? Our season's over. After ruining my Thanksgiving Day weekend with Black Friday, why do we need to see him? We don't have an offensive line. The guy's coming from surgery, Achilles surgery. I don't care what it is, ruptured, tore, whatever it is. We need him healed. Let's get ready for next year. He got no offensive line. You might as well go over to Bergen Catholic, Don Bosco, and pick up offensive linemen to protect them.
Yeah, maybe somebody that protected DeVito back in the day over at Bosco. Maybe you pick somebody up the scrap heap there.
Exactly, but there's no use rushing him back.
But they're not. But Charlie, here's that they're not rushing him back. The one thing.
How are they not rushing him back?
Because the Jets aren't saying you have to play.
No, he's rushing back.
No. He's not rushing back. Well, I'm going to play on words here, and we just see it differently. I don't believe that he's irresponsibly rushing back. I believe that he's just pushing the boundaries of rehab, and until it's proven to be a problem, I don't believe that it is. Meaning if he comes back in the first play or the first series, he goes down and they scrape him off the field, maybe I'll have a different opinion.
Right. Well, that is
I just
what's
don't
going
put
to
limits
happen
on the human body.
But
I don't.
But dude, it's like it's not really up for debate. He's not in fact Superman. Like I'm pretty sure that if you check his blood and his bones and his body, it's the same as everybody else.
Understood.
Like, unless he was created in some, was he dropped here, created from Mars? Now, look, I guess anything is possible, right, Aaron? Was he created in outer space on some planet and dropped here by some, aliens? And Rodgers has a different Achilles and different structural parts to his body than everybody else? I mean, because that's what we're talking about.
Absolutely, he does, based on the reinforcement and the different type of surgery. Obviously, the same blood, the same organs. This is what everybody is missing. Everybody's trying to compare Rodgers' return to 50 years of Achilles. It's more like a year of Achilles injuries, and one guy just made it back in 5 months.
Well, not yet. He didn't.
No, I'm talking about Cam Akers.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were talking about Rodgers, right?
No, not yet. No,
Akers made it back in 5 months, and we'll see what Rodgers. But even, BT, that's not even the biggest point here is that Rodgers has ruined the Jets. And this is going to be the same story again the rest of this year and then again next year. Because guess what? The team that doesn't have a good enough head coach, the team that still has major questions about their general manager, the team that has no offense, none, around even Aaron Rodgers when he comes back, that's all going to be there. The offensive coordinator who's inept, all that's going to be there because of Rodgers.
All right, I got to challenge and take issue with the usage of the word ruined. I'm gonna throw this back at you here. You ready? Mm-hmm. So Sal just said that Aaron Rodgers ruined the Jets. And I'm not making light of this.
Not on purpose.
No, I get that, clearly. I'm not making light of this at all. I truly am not saying this this is just the sad reality of our world. There are people who are destitute without money, obviously. Homeless without money.
Right.
If you went up to a homeless person or somebody who was poor and you gave them bad financial advice, are you ruining them?
So you're saying because the Jets were already ruined?
Yes.
Yeah, but
now, if you went up to somebody who was affluent and you gave them, whether it's a bad real estate, and they listened, and then they went from being incredibly affluent to destitute, you ruined their financial being. I got news for everybody. The Jets have always been trash.
Right, but here's why he's ruined them. Everything this year was built on him. He got hurt. Okay, it happens. I still think it was the right move to go get him, but it fell apart. Now, where we've seen other areas of this team without Rodgers be exposed, you need to change that. And they're not going to be able to change that next year. And if they do move on from Saleh, it's going to be Hackett. These are people that are the problems long-term beyond Aaron Rodgers. The hope was that Rodgers could help build a foundation, have some success, get back to the postseason, develop Zach Wilson, and maybe build that foundation where they could have some success, sustained success moving forward. That's out the window now.
One thing that I've also said, and as much as I love Rodgers, at this point, I don't really give a damn what Aaron Rodgers wants or thinks.
But that's what I'm saying, and guess what? What he does.
No, I understand that, but what's the recourse? If you're Rodgers,
he's going to be here next year. You know that.
No, I know that, and I want him to be.
Especially he's coming back now.
Well,
apparently.
That's what I'm saying. So you're answering my thing. Like, when you say he's going to be back here next year, that's why I'm not that worried about, if he doesn't play this year, okay? Just say he doesn't make it. He tries, he doesn't make it back. They lose 2 straight games, and it's not worth his time. He doesn't play a snap. Okay. And they average, 11.1 points per game, and it's just deemed absolutely gross and untenable, and Hackett must go. And everybody's going to say, well, you can't do that to Aaron Rodgers. I don't care what Aaron Rodgers wants at that point.
You don't.
Because but here's why it doesn't matter, even though I know what you're saying about Woody. I get that. But what Woody should do and what Woody might do, maybe, is say, listen, Aaron, I get it. He's your guy. But Woody's got to be a little cutthroat. And if Rodgers doesn't like their decision, possibly to move on from Hackett, what does Rodgers do? Retire? What's he do? He's under contract for the Jets. Right. He's not playing for somebody else. What's his recourse? He's got none.
The problem
he's got no move.
The problem is they're not going to do it because Rodgers is here and they're already invested in this and they're going to play it out another year. And let's say that Jim Harbaugh wants to return to the NFL. And it's going to be either or, Rodgers or Harbaugh. Which one would you rather have?
I'd rather have Harbaugh.
Of course you would. And the Jets are stuck with Aaron Rodgers. Further proof that now, technically, could they tell him to go somewhere else? I mean, I guess they could. They're not going to.
But something else that they could do, and we thought about this for the Giants based on their draft spot. I'm starting to think this maybe about the Jets as well. And again, if Rodgers doesn't like this, tough. He could retire and he can leave. But Zach Wilson, even though they ruined him, goodbye. Zach, you're gone. Tim Boyle, your buddy, your caddy. You can hold Aaron Rodgers' luggage somewhere else. You could go as well. And the Jets could draft the quarterback in the top 10. Oh, Aaron Rodgers doesn't want it. Tough. You have a new quarterback. You play 1 year Rodgers, and then we draft the kid in the top 10. See, there's other options here than just being pigeonholed into what everybody thinks that they're pigeonholed into. I think he's playing this year. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to benefit the franchise. And we need it emotionally, but the building needs it, the roster needs it to get some answers. And I think his presence will provide some. I do, Sal. I do.